This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome once again live to Djuma in the Sabi Sands in South Africa, where it is a balmy 39 degrees Celsius, 103 degrees Fahrenheit. My name is Steve. I'm joined on camera by Davisito. And, well, it is a marvelous afternoon. There is a cloud system developing from the west. And, well, it is cooling down slightly. We have spotted a beautiful Wahlberg eagle that we had in frame a moment ago. Please feel free to send your questions and comments through to hashtag Safari Live or drop them in on the YouTube chat stream. Let us know what you'd like to see and talk about this afternoon. Hopefully we can accommodate. Well, you can see the Wahlberg eagle is now being bombed by a smaller bird. I didn't quite get a look at it, but there we go. Probably a fork-tailed drongo. Yep, the honey badger of the sky. Can you imagine how brave you must be to be such a small individual and to go bombard an enormous raptor? Fork-tailed drongos are well known to chase small, medium-sized and large raptors anywhere near their nesting sites, and often it will cause the large bird to move away. Now, a lot of people might ask, what is the purpose of small birds mobbing a large predator? And owls and eagles alike, even predators such as leopard, will be mobbed sometimes. And the purpose of that is if the predator has been spotted, its camouflage and stealth tactic have disappeared, so it doesn't have the element of surprise anymore, and generally they will move off in search of something a little bit easier. Predators don't like to be spotted. Obviously it's very difficult to hunt if you've been spotted, and so invariably owls and eagles alike will move away. It is the breeding season, not only for the fork-tailed drongo and most other birds, but also for the Wahlberg eagle that is having a bit of a yawn. You see his wings are slightly open. He's trying to get a bit of a breeze there to cool himself down. But anyway, we're going to focus on some birds, some tracks, and see if we can find, hopefully, the little chief from yesterday morning, because we would love to find him on this beautiful afternoon. But out in the Mara and back up and in action is David Gitu.
A very happy Boxing Day to all of you, our nice viewers, and it's always good to look for everything out here in the wilderness, be it a bird, be it a mammal. My name is David, and again, happy Boxing Day, and with me on camera is Archie. Very good afternoon. Very excited to have you on board, and good news, this is our second day running without any rainfall, which is pretty good. Nothing against the rain. We badly need a lot more rain here, but the infrastructure had almost become impossible. There are certain roads we could not access, but now this is the glorious weather we have. Wonderful temperatures, 28 degrees Celsius and about 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember, our drive, as usual, very interactive as you go back to our zebras and to our toppies. So should you have any questions, any comments, don't be shy. Please send them through hashtag Safari Live as usual on Twitter, or you can keep following us on the YouTube chat stream. This is one of the best light, I would say, I've seen here for the last 2 weeks, and this time around, because every other afternoon we have come prepared with Archie, set the cameras, vehicle ready, big spirits, and thunderstorms start coming, and the next thing, the sky would open, it would have massive rains, and you would have the flaps down, and you would not be able to see such beautiful animals like this one toppy here that's just enjoying the view of the Mara Triangle. This is a toppy and a species of animal that is not found in South Africa, and I would say our closest cousin would be the sesame. Well, rainfall or food brings different animals together, because if you look carefully here, we got two different species of animals, but because they have a commonality of food, they have grass, they have a reason to be together, but apparently enough for everybody. That's the beautiful Mara Triangle, which I'm sure at one point I'll be giving you that view shortly after this. But the gentleman with one of the best smiles in Africa would like to say hello to you and wish you a happy Boxing Day.
You can see that at the moment the bush is very much green, and these green bushes behind me is associated today with quite a lot of rain promising to come. A very, very good afternoon and welcome to the beginning of the afternoon safari. This is Sydney Pumulani Mikosi. I am traveling with Marcel, who is my camera operator this afternoon. We are going to carry on from previous. I will be heading back to the Chitwa, where we have been lucky this morning with the 2 lions. Maybe we might find the rest of the pride this afternoon. For in case if you need our attention, you can follow us on Twitter, #Safari Live. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. So I have been checking some tracks from the beginning, and I have not yet picked up any tracks, but I'm not close to the Chitwa. I was just trying to check if maybe we can pick up any leopard tracks on the way before we get there. It was going to be very interesting to see something. So it has been extremely hot this afternoon by this part of South Africa. So I'm sure a lot of these cats, where we left them this morning, we might still find them more or less in the same area. So now let's quickly cross over to the Maasai Mara, where David is waiting.
Well, going to the Chitwa Dam is always exciting because there's a lot you'll see where you see or where you get water. Anywhere in the world in general, water will always attract some kind of life. But here, I'm showing you the beautiful landscape of the Mara Triangle. And look at that expanse of land. And this, I'm sure, you all know, or those who have never joined us before, there's one major difference in terms of habitats between the Mara and Juma in South Africa. The Mara is more open. It's such an expanse of land, but either way, we still got a lot of animals that will fill this particular game reserve. Earlier, we had toppies and zebras at the same time, and just next door, not very far from where they are, we got that brown antelope there that's a bit shy today, being a Boxing Day. He doesn't want to put his head up, and that is a waterbuck. Hopefully gonna put his head up. So we've got 3 different species of animals in the radius of what? They're like 10 meters apart. And as I said, they have been brought together by one commonality, which is food. And they have enough to eat. And seeing animals flicking their tails like that is always so peaceful. Rocky, I would say I have no idea what I'm talking about, and you want to know what's Boxing Day. I mean, being here in Africa, there's a lot of culture that we have learned from the Western world. And to the animals, I do not think they have an idea what Boxing Day is. But from what I learned in school, when I went to a school in the city, I was told after people would gather together as families, they would pack gifts for each other, and then they'll celebrate either a turkey Christmas for dinner, and the day after, which is today the 26th, I don't know what date is, Rocky, for you, people would open their presents to each other, and they would give, they would share, this is what I had for you. And so Boxing Day is the day they would open the boxes. But strange enough, while I was still in college, and that toppy seems to have one horn, the right one, that is missing the tip. Maybe age, being a boy, maybe have a little fight. So, Rock, yeah, I mean, I remember when we were still young, guys would say Boxing Day was a day to fight. And I remember we had a few brawls here with boys fighting each other, because that's what we understand Boxing Day is. And it's funny, it took us, for me especially, quite a long time to know it had nothing to do with fighting. Well, it wasn't a big fight, but people would get little bruises, little punches on the eyes, because that's what that day was meant to be. Very good, Toppy. Enjoy the view. I'm going to be letting you enjoy the view. I need to look for something else. And Sydney got a feathered friend like Steve earlier.
So you can see there I've got a very beautiful bird Oh, it's two of them, the Egyptian goo and the saddle-wheel stock. You can see the stock is looking for some diet at the moment. This is quite a very beautiful bird with very long legs. Earlier on, there was also a water monitor, but this monitor can see is disappearing. So the water is going down again here by the Twins Dam. This is the Twins Dam, and it was having a lot of water about few weeks ago. So the monitor, you can see there now, that is he swimming? Oh, there's an alarm call somewhere here. There is an alarm call somewhere here. Let me just quickly investigate. I can hear that the impalas are giving an alarm call against something somewhere here on Twinsdam Road. Somewhere on Twinsdam Road, I heard the impalas making some noise. Let me just quickly check who is there. Maybe one of these predators is coming to drink here. Yeah, it will be lovely if we find a cat, but these calls are coming from this direction. So in order to find the cats, we have to concentrate on these alarm calls. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. But those animals calling, I could hear that it's coming from this side. Yeah, Kenneth, somewhere here, I can promise you there is a dangerous animal. Let me just listen again. And it was just the impalas who were giving that call. So we're just parallel to the Muluwati dry river bed. Maybe this animal is somewhere deep in the dry river bed, or is somewhere in these thick bushes here. They cannot just call for nothing. I trust the impalas a lot. So I can't see any tracks. So now, while I'm looking around here, let's cross over to David, who's got a waterbuck.
Well, I want always to believe that the impala's alarm call in general, you can rely on it more than these waterbucks here. Now, what did you decide to do? Are you trying to scent mark? Or are you trying to have a little scratch on your head, or both? What's wrong with you? Yeah, it could be the scent mark in there, I would say, because what happens in general, males are the ones that will scent mark when we come to the antelope's kingdom, and doing it on both sides. There's a tendency that is exactly what he's doing. Some of the antelopes will have the scent glands on the face, on the forehead, but at the same time, he had decided to eat part of that grass. Now, this is a waterbuck. We've got two species of waterbucks in Africa. We have the common waterbuck and we have the Defasa waterbuck. This particular one here is called the Defasa waterbuck. And there's some females and some youngsters. In general, you might get one male and a few females that will have a few wives and some youngsters. And I'm imagining that the male is just so down there is the dominant male here, and what he was doing was just scent marking and just zeroing in this particular territory as he is moving his wives or the females in a different direction. So if you look on the bottoms, you see that white rump. That's how the first waterbuck look like. But should we see the common waterbuck, they have a white ring on the bottoms. We have always made a joke, they seem to have sat on a wet or on a paint, on a toilet. White common waterbucks, because I've always visions here coming in through there. And if you compare the size of horns of these two animals, I mean the impala and the one we saw before, the horns, but when you look in terms of shape and how they, they come out, I think I would say the ones from the impala look more colorful to me. I think Archie's trying to get, that's another male there. And all these are boys, impala boys. And this one is getting cleaned by some ox pickers, I guess. Richard, great comment there. I would agree with you. This waterbucks here, to me, a little bit striking. And if, Richard, you know how the common waterbuck looks like, to me, I have always thought or said anytime the first waterbuck, that white rump there below the tail is more conspicuous. And also the white under the base of the horns also is more appealing. I would say, yes, I agree with you, Richard, that the first waterbuck look much colorful than the common waterbuck. Some zebras here, not sure, they got some little issues among themselves, and there could be some stallions, and stallions at a particular age may have a go on each other, especially if the dominant male wants the boys, which could be fully grown, out. He may have to forcefully evict them and eject them from the herd. These are the common zebras. What are you doing there? And this one's trying to bite the other, and the other one is kicking back. And I can tell you, you do not want to be kicked by a zebra. I love me alone. This sort of not exact. In the elephants, where you have elephants baying sisters or first cousins, you might get, the male might have picked maybe 3, 4, 5 different females and has grouped them together, and he kind of takes care of them. Very good. My apologies there, ladies and gentlemen. We had a little bit of a technical issue, and these things will happen once in a while. We are all the way in the wilderness in Africa, and for us to get you to a screen, there's so many stages we go through. Apologies for that little breakup there. But again, coming to that male you see there of the waterbuck, the females to the left, they might not be related. It could be females. He was able to pick maybe one after the other, put them together, and he is in charge of them. But when we compare that to the elephant, you'll get the females in general are always related, either sisters or first cousins. And same case to lions. Lions, the females will always be together, so they are always all related. If females or female calves are born in the pride, they'll always stick in their pride all their lives. If they are any males, after some time the males will leave. So for the waterbuck, I would guess this male would have picked them at different times and put them together. I love me alone. I hope that helps to answer your question. Big difference between these particular antelopes, unlike other antelopes like the Grand gazelles or the Thompson gazelles, where you'll get males and females having horns. But for the waterbucks, we'll get the horns only on the males. Same case to the impalas that you see behind them there. Those are called impalas. And the females of the impalas also do not have horns. So I was trying to compare the shape of the horns between these two antelopes here, the waterbuck and the impala. And I got a feeling the waterbuck is not as good looking as the impala. Well, I'm talking of impalas here in Kenya. Let's go to other impalas in South Africa.
The impalas were just giving some calls that side. I'm not too sure what was the size of the predator, if there was a predator where they were calling Didn't see any evidence, nothing, and now everything is quiet. I am back here by the Twins Dam where I am seeing some of the birds still here, and there is even some warthogs as well, and the monitor is still deep in this water. So we are going to leave here and carry on much more towards Chitwa and see if we can find those lions we saw this morning. So you can see the warthogs are playing the babies there. This is interesting. They are confusing the stock. So the little warthogs can be so fast. Look at that. So the mother is not worried. They're just playing those little ones. Look at that. So the animals such as jackals, they do catch the baby warthogs a lot. So it's good that the warthogs are doing some exercises. These little ones can go very fast. Look at that. So these babies are so cute, and you can see them just playing with their tails up. So here I'm only seeing one matured warthog. Maybe that one is the mother. Can see the teeth there. So the warthogs, the little ones are always on high risk if it's just the mother and the little ones. Because these little ones, if two jackals come here, they are going to confuse the mother and take one or two. But at least if maybe we have got about 2 adults or 3 adults, they can easily defend these little ones. Kenneth, the mom warthog calls the baby. You will hear they do give kind of more or less the same kind of a sound as a domestic pig. You will hear them doing something like. So it's like that, but don't get confused because impalas as well, they use a noise which is more similar to this one, where you will hear them doing When you hear a noise like that, you must know that impalas are calling the babies. So if you hear, then it's the warthog. So we are not very far away from the Chitwa. The baby warthogs are so cute. Even the warthogs themselves, they are so cute with those kind of teeth coming out. So those are very much sharp and they can use them for defense. So now let's quickly go to David, who's got the vultures.
All right, good luck to Chitwa. And one thing I know Sydney will not miss at Chitwa Dam will be birds of some sort in that dam, be they kingfishers, be they fishy goose, be they sacred ibis or the Egyptian geese. Well, I got vultures here. I'm trying to remember if at any one time I saw any vultures around Chitwa Dam. Maybe not, but Sydney and Steve over might remind me. Now, we've got lots of vultures on this particular tree, and my guess is definitely there could be a kill somewhere, and my guess is the owners of the kill must still be there. Otherwise, these vultures may not have any business being there. It's a tree that I know pretty well. I've always been passing here, every other day while going out on a drive. But that bush actually is spanning, could be the area where maybe the killers, and chances are would be lions, could be staying. When it gets warm like this, and after the lions have made a kill, they'll always drag it down. Maybe not there because it's a little bit of a zebra there, but maybe further down, or the zebra could be there. You see there, that corner, there's a zebra there. So I highly doubt, the lions will be there. But it's within that particular radius where the killers or, there would be cats could be hiding. My guess is the only predators that I guess would be here would be lions. And as I was saying, when it gets pretty warm like now, for them to preserve their kill, they'll always drag it in a little shaded area, which is their basic fridge, just to make sure they preserve it. And it lasts them quite long, if especially it was a big game, a big prey like buffalo. And you can see how beautiful the Mara is after all the migration of the wildebeest left, having eaten most part of the grass. Carla, you'd like to know how large those vultures are. On a wingspan, they could go up to about 3 feet in terms of, being wide when they spread their wings like that. And they could be about a foot and a foot and a half high, when they're standing on the ground. But like now where they are, because of the heat, you see they have tucked in their head like that color. And those are what we call the African white-backed vultures. African white-backed vultures, and our largest vultures here in Africa are called the Nubian vultures or the lappet-faced vultures. Well, from the birds in the Mara Triangle, we'll go to another bird with Steve.
Thank you, David. Well, indeed, the vulture. Oopsie, that was a bit of a poo right there. From the vultures of the Mara to the Bateleur eagle in Najuma. We do get Bateleurs up in the north, and well, often Bateleur and vultures are a good use or a sign to follow to find predators. But generally, when you do follow them and find predators, the animals are already on a kill. They have already made, the action has already probably passed. And, then you'll find flat cats or maybe the beginnings of the feeding. We followed up on those calls that Sydney heard as well before of impala. And we weren't far away at the time, and we found 3 bachelor males having a bit of a out-of-season rutting period. So not the direct alarm call that we're always looking for, but very, very similar. So those are the 2 methods plus the third method. So we follow and find predators by the use of scavenging birds like this juvenile Bateleur and vultures, as well as by alarm calls, which we use all of the time, and then thirdly by directly tracking them. So those are the 3 methods. This time of year, with it being quite dense and quite thick, the alarm calls are the most sort of accurate and the easiest for us to follow, because, well, the tracking can be quite difficult on the ground. That is a little bit hard in places because of the rain. But this eagle can sometimes be confused with the Wahlbergs because of the little crest that sometimes sits up on the top of the head there, but that is just from the wind. You can see that there's no feathers. You see the wind blowing the back of the head. Quite a sort of characteristic sort of shape to what a Wahlbergs has. But you can see that it's got sort of a greenish sort of facial mask on the head. And almost, if you look at it, it's difficult to see in this in the screen, but it's a little bit bluish green, the face, which will eventually become a very red skin face when it, whoopsie, there it goes, when it becomes an adult. Let me just give Rexon a quick update. Good afternoon, Texan. There is apparently some Ngala in the north next to Big Dam, and we're on Juma. No updates so far. So the radio, if you're not familiar, we use these for communicating with other members of the team out here to assist us in finding animals. Because if we... Okay, copy that. Yeah, we went down the Mulwati and Sydney went down Twin Dams. So if you check that side, that'll be awesome. We are on Leadwood at the moment. Okay, so we're going to quickly go up to the Maasai Mara, David.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mara Triangle, and we have a very interesting standoff here between that one buffalo you see there and those 2 lions. Now, these two lions that you see here belong to a pride of lions that we call the Olololo. And the Ololos are not two, they are three, they are four, and when all together, they are 16 in number. So 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9, 10, and 11. I'm looking forward to some entertaining moment here because to me, from the body language, they have every reason to show they want to go for some early dinner, either for Christmas, of course, as much as Christmas was yesterday. And we had two of them, or two lions that I showed you before that were together, trying to tease that one particular buffalo. And he kept going around. The lions would follow him, and he would turn around and, kind of give them a little chase. So we just want to sit here and wait and see what will happen. Well, we'll have a lot of interruption or a lot of visual pollution, I may call it, of other vehicles, on the sighting, but nothing to worry. Most important, they have also wonderful guests, just like you, who have come to Africa and also in the Mara Triangle in Kenya to come and see this great sighting. So let's see how things will play out. We don't want to get so close, like those vehicles you see there. Yes, Mr. Lapwing, I agree with you. This is just like the paparazzi. And Mrs. Lapwing, if you get close to these fellows here who are moving those vehicles and you stay near them, Mrs. Lapwing, and you hear their cameras, you'll just hear them firing. So I agree with you 100%. They are nothing but paparazzis. But they need to take memories home. And now you can see that buffalo is just looking at that particular lion. So the rest of them have come, they have sat down, and I'm imagining they're definitely in communication. Apart from that one buffalo you see there are another 4, 5. Yes, how many of those are actually? Those are 4 there, right? Yeah, we've got 4 of those buffaloes there. And they're also facing the lions. And I'm sure they're trying to imagine maybe the date or the day of reckoning. Could be today. They may not know who exactly could be the target, and the whole idea, one of them might be brought down. Not as yet. We're just going to sit here and wait how things will play out. You see those two lions are together there, but this is, I think, a good day for lions because apart from me having the lions, we also got Sydney with similar or other lions in Joma.
You can see that this is a sign I have got something. Listen to the warning calls. Listen to that. So I'm going to show you what I've got at the moment here. Look, I have got the lions who are now aiming at the impalas somewhere around the Chitwa Dam at the moment. So the rain is promising. Apologies for the roof as it's going to be appearing a lot. So the poles that are consisting my roof is going to appear too much. So you can see that one of these lions is just standing at the moment. So this is the Chitwa where we are at the moment. You can see the impalas are drinking there, and Waterbuck has been here. And now that these kind of francolins are giving the warning calls, these animals are going to be very wary about the presence of these lions. You can see the other one is now standing. So this is the 2 females we saw earlier this morning, and I think these are part of the Nkuhuma pride. So it's just that the rest of the pride. So while waiting to see what is going to happen, let's quickly cross over to David by the Maasai Mara.
Very good, Sydney. Well done, having seen the lions. And now things might unfold here. We are not very sure. It might take time for these lions to decide what they want to do. But we have seen also once in a while the buffaloes turning tables against the lions and fighting them and sometimes injuring the lions badly. So this pride of lions here, they have to be very careful. They have to have a proper judgment. They have to assess the situation before they commit themselves. So just walking now, just passing and, not bothered to show any sign of a hunt. And you see that one buffalo trying to chase the lion there. And sometimes a game of cat and mouse and not actually running away. He is zeroing in on that particular one there. Oops. Then he's going to stop and then come join the rest of the herd. Now, one thing for a fact, all these lions, the 11 I counted, they're definitely in communication of some sort. How they communicate, of course, I would guess is body language, maybe not using ultrasound like elephants, but I'm sure that you move that way, you stay back, I'll do the attacking, I'll do the defending, and I'm going to carry the final execution of the hunt. So for me now, it's just wait and read this situation here, but I got a feeling we might be going to a wonderful moment. For those of you who are joining us now, this pride of lions here is called the Olorol Pride, and they were named Olorol because they tend to hang around the Olorol escarpment. Olorol escarpment featured very prominently in the movie Out of Africa for anybody who might have watched that movie, and if you did not, when you get time, you can always watch it. Remember, our drive is always very interactive. Comments like who is faster between a buffalo and a lion will be, questions like that. Very good. Comments like, oops, this is turning to be exciting. Those are great comments. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Now, buffalo's drama might happen here. Why that particular one is chasing the lions, I do not know. Isabella, yes, the Oloros have to be careful. They know the price of making a mistake. If they miscalculate, buffaloes have been even known apparently to kill lions. I mean, especially the males, they're huge, they're strong, and they got very solid bones. I mean, not bones, but horns. It's very easy to gouge even their eyes out. Or we have seen lions with very bad wounds coming from the lions. Now, the last three that will be high in the pride are crouching and coming up to join the 5 that were in front. But I'm thinking they might zero on one, and what they will do, all of them will agree at what time to attack. 2 of them have laid down completely and not moving. And these 2, I want to believe they're just salivating and saying, this Christmas, we need a proper and serious dinner for all of us. Because, as I said earlier, it's a huge pride. And about 11 of them, or rather 16 when all together. FM. How exciting is this? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Boxing Day afternoon in the Mara Triangle in Kenya. Now, we got a pride of lions here that is called the Olorol Pride that is trying to get itself Christmas dinner, and they have been having a standoff between the 11 lions that I've counted here with one particular buffalo, but apart from this one buffalo, there are 4 more. A warm welcome, and what we do live broadcast, and we'll always come to you 100% live. So should you have any questions or should you have any comment, I will answer them in real time. And you can always ask those questions, or you can send your comments using hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Paula, how are you, Paula? And happy Boxing Day, Paula. And I'm happy, Paula, you're on board, and I am always happy to hear your name. And look at that now. He has gone and splitting the whole group. Oops, one fell down. I do not know what this might mean, so just keep watching. But I got a feeling, oops, okay, now let's go. Something going to happen here. We'll see what these lions will do. There are 11 of them, and there are 4 buffaloes. We'll see if 5 buffaloes in total. If the other 4, we'll try and go and save one. Now, that is a young male, and yeah, I mean, the final control says this is pretty crazy. So this as 5 youngsters, I just want to move forward a little bit, if you allow me, because this is just becoming quite epic here, and we might be seeing some cool moment on this Boxing Day. So I just want to go very close. I don't want to interfere with the hunt, but also we do not want to miss any one moment of this wonderful sighting. This is going to make my Boxing Day. So actually, let me go left. Selva, that's a very good question, and you want to know whether it's the alpha buffalo chasing the lions. It would be very difficult for me, Selva, to know who is chasing the lions, but I think my guess is there's always a joke we've made here. If the locals, us in the village, go hunting lions, that's way back, and maybe one of us would be the coward person is the one who would try and get to the lions first, and lions would know and would get to this person. So of these 5 buffaloes here, the one that's chasing the lions, to me, I think is the one that's a bit skittish, and chances are he'll be brought down by these lions. Now these lions are playing some kind of game, and either they want to draw one away from the other herd of 4 and then zero on it, and of course, and once they bring it down, that will be the time. Now, in this pride, Zach, we got 7 males, and all of them are youngsters. 7, like the one you see running there, that's a young male. All of them are youngsters, but there's always a coalition here of lions. We've got some people there who are very, very loud, which would maybe come and give a hand to these other youngsters and the females. Now I want to find out if all of them are together, or if all the females, there are 4 females in this pride, see if they're joining the youngsters in trying to bring a buffalo down. How exciting this would be. Now these buffaloes, you can tell, they have really panicked. Thomas, I agree with you. Yes, this is definitely a standoff. We are talking of 5 buffaloes and 11 lions. So Thomas, will keep watching. We want to see how the drama here will unfold. And keep sending your questions. Keep sending your comments. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, because this might be very exciting. So I want to move forward a little bit to have a better angle. Mukari, how is New Orleans? And you're saying this is awesome, and you could not ask for a better thing on... that's good, Rachi. You cannot ask for a better thing on a Boxing Day, Makari. So keep watching, Makari. Let's enjoy this together, because we might be getting something very exciting here. Now, the buffaloes are coming upwards, and I cannot see one single lion at the moment. Carla, good question. How long does the hunt take? It could be anything like 10 minutes. It could be anything like a whole 1 hour. So it depends until it will be the right moment for the lions to strike, or until maybe, Carla, they achieve what they want. Because what I think these lions want to do is to separate the one buffalo they want to target on and just, deal with it. But as it is now, so long as the buffaloes are together, they have a lot of strength. Of course, we always say strength in numbers. So the whole idea, whoever they want to bring down, whichever buffalo the lions want to hunt, must be away from away. Olololos are always very lucky in getting buffaloes. Currently, the migration is gone, and migration I'm talking about, we had thousands and thousands of wildebeest here a couple of months ago, and they have all gone back to Serengeti National Park in Tanzania to calve or to bring down their babies come the month of February. Now, by virtue of being so many, Olololos are only left with one choice, and the only prey they tend to target is buffaloes. 2.5 weeks ago, or let me say 3 weeks ago, the Olololos brought down 2 buffaloes almost at the same time, and in a span of, or in a radius of about 50 meters. So Olololos are always very successful when it comes to bringing down buffaloes. They have specialized to bring down big prey, again, as I said, by virtue of their numbers. When they don't bring down a buffalo, they have been known to bring down giraffes or the big antelopes that we call elands. Well, they seem to have relaxed a little bit, and thank you very much everybody for having joined us. My name is David, and on camera with me was Archie. So should there be another exciting moment, don't go very far. We'll send you a few other notifications, and it could be exciting to be with us. From me and Archie, thank you very much, and goodbye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am not going anywhere. I'm staying here. I'm sure you have enjoyed that exciting moment. And how epic has that been for the last 5-10 minutes? And what we'll do, we'll just have to reposition ourselves, because I'm looking forward to an exciting moment. Well, it seems to have died down, but the lions, the youngsters especially, keep chasing the buffaloes back and forth, back and forth. So once I go around the other side, maybe is the place where we are meant to be, and going to stick there and tent there and wait and see what will happen. But in the meantime, we'll take you back to Sydney to see how things are going.
So you can see that nothing is happening at the moment. Yes, this lion attempted to hunt some of the impalas and waterbucks who were just having a drink earlier on, but that hunt just fainted. So they gave up very quickly. So now it's time for them again to carry on lying down. They are just lying down on top of this dam wall, and if you can look at the color of the body and the color of the ground is the same. So they are very much well exposed, but still very camouflaged. So the chances are very high that the prey animals might move much more towards where these lions are, because I heard that this morning some other lion tracks were spotted by the northern side of the dam. So if those lions decide to come back to come and have a drink here, chances of these prey animals to run down this side and meet these ones are very much high. So the thing is, the tracks went to Torchwood by the northern side of the Chitwa. So this is one of those cats which can be able to lie down for approximately 18 hours. But the one on the left, his bellies, they are looking very full now, because she has just been to the waterhole. She was drinking earlier on. So the one on the right, you can see the bellies are much more thin there, because that one has not yet gone down to the waterhole for drinking. So that other one is just water there. So they were all looking more or less the same, hungry as the one on the right side. So we might be lucky with them hunting. Kimberly, this is quite a very big cat. You can see that the stomach can capacitate quite a lot of water and some meat. So if he's looking full like this, just from normal drinking water, you can see that these cats, they can be able to push a very big weight from what they eat. David, unfortunately, the Mangeni, I haven't seen them and I haven't heard anything about them. The only Mangeni I have last seen, it was the one we saw yesterday morning, moving much more towards the private concessions. You can see now that this other one is up now, right here. Apologies for the pole. I'm just gonna reposition again so that you can see them nicely there. So you can see now that this one might now wake up to go and have a drink as well. It has been very hot, and when the sun is strong, the possibility of dehydration are also very much high. So now it's completely overcast. Maybe the temperatures are going to low down, which might also encourage them to go and do a real hunt. Because here, they are just acting as a sit and wait predators. They are not hunting as usual. They're just lying down here because it's a waterhole, animals are coming to drink. Kylie, the elephants here by the Chitwa, when I was entering earlier, I saw a lot of fresh dunks, fresh droppings, showing that the elephants has been here maybe about an hour or 2 hours ago. The possibilities of seeing the elephant has coming to drink here, they are very much high. So the only thing I haven't seen so far, no evidence associated with this animal, is the buffalo. So you can see that they don't really want to give up. They are still checking by the other side of the dam wall. Yeah, the wind which is blowing here is very much warm. So I'm sure it's not helping them too much. You can even see that the one on the right, the mouth is open all the time. So when the lions are like this, if it's only females, so when the lions are just like this, you must check, oh, this one has got a problem with the right eye. You can see that that right eye is not much more open like the left one. Yeah, this one has been fighting a lot. You can see all these scratch marks. She doesn't want to look at us again because we started talking about the problem with the eyes. So this female is camera shy and doesn't want to look at us at all. Maybe it is, yeah. This morning I was with them, but I never noticed. Yeah, now it's clear. You can see that the other eye is affected by something. So now let's quickly go back to David, who is also following his lions.
Well, my lions, I think, chickened out, and what they did, they just feared those buffaloes. So what they did, they looked at them, and they did not want to take any chances, and they decided to leave buffaloes and maybe hunt buffaloes another day. So I think now they're concentrating on something smaller, and I'm talking about zebras. So I want to show you where they are. They just came past the zebras, just waved, at the lions, but I think they might be going for something different now. I'll just show you where they have stopped, and here. I'm going to stop here for a minute because they might enter that little bush there. How is that, Archie? Well, we still have a few vehicles on the way, but let's have a look at them. Because what they want to do... So the dragon, the male buffalo, what would happen to do? They tend to be like the defenders of the herd, but they buffaloes we were watching before, they were all males. And when males get a little old, you'll get them being kicked out of the herd by the females and living on their own. Now, that is the lead lion there, and it looks to me like the youngster, and they want to cross. And another one have just popped up, and what they want to do is to cross that particular area and go to the other side. This looks like a lioness to me, and should be a fully grown one. Could be the pathfinder in the sense that she is leading the pride in terms of where to go and what to do. But by all shape and form, when I look at all these lions here, they definitely want to get something for themselves to feed on. So that's a youngster there. You can see he got a bit of mane on his neck and head. So they'll all always follow the female, which will always lead them. Child of the universe, chances are, to me, these lions would catch a buffalo. As much as it could be very dangerous for them, they have a very good chance. This pride child of the universe is huge by any standard. And for 16 mouths and having such youngsters, they need to eat a lot. Otherwise, if they bring down one zebra, they might have to bring down 3 to be able to feed them all. So child of the universe, don't go far. Keep looking, and you want to keep watching rather. 3 are leading the rest. They took any chances, and no wonder they decided to leave the buffaloes on their own. Well, moving on intent there, but those zebras are quite a distance from them, and they sat in an open area. Just getting close to them, and they'll easily spot them unless they go and lay an ambush somewhere, and maybe one of the lions take a huge loop and decide to chase the zebras towards the ones laying an ambush. I think that's the only formula I see, or could be a winning formula for these lions. Otherwise, where those zebras are, it's a very open area, and they'll definitely spot these lions as they get close to them. Very good, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. We had a bit of a technical breakdown there. Sometimes these things will happen. We always broadcast from the African wilderness, and occasionally we'll have a few challenges just to get you this wonderful sighting from here in African bush to your living rooms. We apologize truly for that, but as it is now, all looks very good. Now we're back in business, and for those of you who are joining us now, these lions belong to a pride that's called the Olololo. And see, that's a youngster male. You can see his mane is coming out. And if they were to bring down the buffaloes, the boys or the males come in very handy. So just watching them slowly walking, and of course the zebras that we showed you earlier have no idea that these lions are here. And I'm looking at the distance between the zebras and the lions is about half a kilometer. Electrical engineer, very good to hear your name again today. I think I had your name the other day on Christmas Day, and always keep asking questions, electrical engineer. That gives a lot of joy. Well, when young, sometimes electrical engineer is difficult to tell males from females, but of course, unless you get the obvious difference if you look below the tail. But from a distance, it could be a bit difficult. But when fully grown electrical engineer, males are in black and white. They have the huge mane on their necks and of course on their head. That's the ones to tell the difference between males. Is short. Now we'll go back to our last lion, but a thick lion. And if to cross this, then we'll wait and see if they're going to pop out from that other side of the same lagger. So electrical engineer, if you look carefully at that lion walking there, he got a bit of mane on his neck and his head, so that one is definitely a boy. Females will definitely have no mane or no hair. And let's find out if these zebras have a clue of what's happening. The zebras, the impalas, they have no idea the danger that is facing them. But again, who knows? Well, Sydney got some lions. Not sure they are getting a little busy, or they are still very lazy as they have been.
So you can see that these lions are very much relaxed, and if you can check what David Gatamba Gitu has just indicated about the difference between the male and females, you can see that these are just the females, as we cannot see any male, although I know the young males, when they're less than 2 years, you will see they don't have a mane, but 2 years and above is the beginning of the mane. So you can see the black tip on the tail on one of these lions there. The other one is hiding. So that is very much important for communication. And this black tip as well, they're not born with it. There has to be a development of that tarsal. So unfortunately, the Mangeni lions don't have the tarsals anymore due to the hair loss as a result of the mange. So the tail is very much important to the cats. Electrical engineer, the lions, they do conduct hunting at night, and they can be very much successful because eyesight is excellent, hearing ability is there, and some other different senses such as the whiskers are helping them. So during the day they get discouraged by the hot temperature. Sometimes when the temperatures are on their favor, they do conduct hunt during the day, but mostly they do target animals at night. They use advantage of the dark. So these kind of animals, lions, they are so very much used to hunting as a group. So they hunt together, and when it's just an individual, the chances of taking down a prey, they are not always there. Yes, some of them, because of being solitary for quite a long time, they end up obtaining quite a lot of hunting skills. It all goes with experience. The young males, they've got to learn how to hunt, and they are not allowed to participate until they're at least older than a year, because hunting can be very much dangerous to the youngsters. It is a matter of life and death to the prey animals. Some of them, like buffaloes, can always retaliate. As we have just seen earlier with David by the Maasai Mara, lions and buffaloes chasing each other. So now let's quickly go back to Steve and hear how Steve is doing.
Well done, David and Sydney, for having lions this afternoon. David, that sounded like an awesome sighting, the Olololo Pride, and it's always really interesting to, we always talk about the formidable lions, how they smash and eat everything. Well, every now and again, buffalo tell them, You saw injury in the one individual's eye. That's why lions are in prides, to tackle the big and hairy. Every now and again, though, they don't survive. Lions are often killed by buffalo. It's a very risky business. But as with Sydney, you'll see that lions are often also lying very, very flat. Well, we've been covering quite some distance trying to search for some tracks, and there's seemingly no leopard tracks that we've seen, anything fresh anyway. And well, in the areas we've been looking, and that's a good indication that possibly Hosana, if he is still on the property, is probably on a kill somewhere. So tomorrow morning we're probably have to go to put in some effort on foot on the bushwalk to see if we can find him. Tundi we had this morning moving north, sort of on our northern boundary towards Bivosuk Cutline in a very tricky block. We're going to do a big loop here to our western side and then maybe slowly make our way around there, see if we can find any activity of her that side. It has cooled down quite considerably. It's quite overcast now. There's definitely a system pushing in somewhere. It's raining in the Cape, which is kind of out of season for now, and it's been raining down on the east coast. So after 2 days of really hot temperatures, this is generally what happens. It doesn't necessarily mean the rain's going to fall where we are right now, but definitely is going to fall somewhere. And hopefully it will fall where we are, because, well, we need it. You can tell by the grass. The grass is very, very dry. There are patches of it coming through of green, But without the green grass, we're not going to get the buffalo and the zebra. Hello, Richard. Well, while we talk about your question, here we've got an impala in the road. Oops, and he's gone. You want to know if impala species or antelope species fight with each other? The only thing I've ever seen is larger animals, for example, elephant coming to water and chasing away whatever's there. I've never really seen any other antelopes across species causing any trouble with each other. They kind of seem to stick to their own species. They also don't seem to have too much in the way. The competition is actually quite limited out here because the feeding heights these animals go through. So in times of plenty, there's almost no competition between them because they're all just feeding. They're all doing their thing. And I've never seen any sort of inter-specific competition between different antelope species. They often hang out together to protect themselves against predators. But I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It's nothing I've ever seen or read about before. But it's possible. In closed situations where you don't have as natural as a condition as we have here in small reserves that are fenced in, you will have Nyala out competing bushbuck, actually hybridizing with them, breeding with them. It's also in small closed systems you have had white and black rhino also hybridizing, which is a very strange thing to happen. But like I said, those are in uncontrolled or in too controlled conditions where the natural state of things is not really in a state of balance anymore, kind of really off to the left or right hand side of the spectrum. Okay, well, we're going to continue on down there yesterday. Let's see if there's any movement. Could we have a trifecta this afternoon? Well, let's go to David and the Olololo Pride.
Well, thank you, Steve, and hopefully you might also get something different, because me and Sydney already got lions. Of the 11 lions, 9 of them have entered that particular valley. Well, 8, is it 8? 7, sorry. 7 have gone in that valley, and 4 are slowly going to either reinforce. There are 8. And allow me to apologize for the technical breakdown we had. These things, again, will always happen once in a while or every other time, because of the challenges we face to get you all this wonderful sighting in your African or from the African wilderness. I do not know why those zebras there are just running. Either they have seen something or they have sensed something, but I doubt it is the lions that are behind there. But some of these, I would say, prey or herbivores or animals are very sensitive. One of them just some little wind or some sign of some danger, and he told the rest of the herd, out of here, because we could be in a lot of trouble. Who knows? Sometimes they just sense wrong things. Sometimes I've seen them seeing warthogs and running away. Now we have pretty different herbivore in the midst of the zebras there, or the impalas, and this one is the eland, and this is the largest antelope that we got in Africa. Sean, you'd like to know whether there are any sebo in the Mara. No, Sean, we do not have sebo in the Mara. Sebo are antelopes. I'm sure you know, Sean, how they look like, but they have the most wonderful horns you'd think of, and how their horns curve backwards. They are so beautiful and very good looking. Well, Sean, you only see sebo antelopes in a game reserve in Kenya called Shimba Hills. Shimba Hills is a game reserve very close to the coast of Kenya, near the Indian Ocean. So we do not have any sabo antelopes in the Mara, but of course, as I said, we have them in other parts of Kenya, and that particular game reserve that's called Shimba Hills. Well, trying to compare the horns of the sabo antelopes and the elands, I think the elands have much longer and more straight horns than those ones of the sabo antelope. Hello, lions. You need to make a plan. You need to go in that lager and come up with a plan. Good news, the good news, you say elands are very good looking, and let me see if Archie is going to show us that antelope again, the good news, because there's something, I'm sure the good news you know about the elands, it's the dewlap they got. You see that massive dewlap, and I would guess This one here, we get into dewlap now in another few seconds. And I would guess this one here is a male by virtue of his size and also by the size of his dewlap. Dewlap, I'm talking about that muscle that's hanging below his neck. That's what we call dewlap. And we'll also see other animals that get dewlaps too, like the leopards. Like in Juma, we have one particular male that we call Tingana, who is the Duke of Juma, who got such a huge dewlap. I don't know whether he has been seen today or the last time he was seen. So yes, they are very good looking. That dewlap has been claimed it serves the purpose of maybe regulating heat. It's like for thermal regulation when it gets very heat, either they get some heat being dissipated from that dewlap just to help cool these antelopes cool. Strange to see him alone. I would wonder where the rest of them are. These two buffaloes that you see here are not part of the herd that we saw before. These are two other males, and either they can see the lions, not either, they definitely can see them, and one of them, the one on the right, you can see he's looking at them, and what he'll do, he'll stop eating and not want to take any chances. Once in a while, they know you'll turn around and start eating, and these lions might sneak on you, and you'll be in a lot of trouble. So what do? You show the lions you can see them, and once you show them you can see them, chances are they will not even bother coming for you, because it's most of the times like sneaking on their prey. Now all those zebras there, plus the eland, plus the impalas, have no idea that there's big risk down there in that lager. The best news is when these lions will start coming out and popping up on the other side of the lager. Let's find out what Sydney's lions are doing.
So you can see that I've got the flat lions, nothing is happening. They are still resting, and I don't think they're going to be moving around now. And I'm thinking about to drive around here and see if we can find something, and then I will come back again later on. We might be lucky, maybe with a spotted cat, who knows. The lions, they are the only ones which has got the tuft of hairs, the tassel on the tail. If you can look at the other ones, don't have. So amongst all these cats, lions, they are the only ones with the tuft on the tail. So don't get surprised, I'm not alone at the moment here at the sightings. There is some other vehicles as well. So you might hear some camera clicking and some different engines. I have not yet come across the Styx Pride. It's one of those prides I'm still hoping to see one of the good days. So I can see that here on my right side things are happening. The hippopotamus are chasing each other here. I am right at the dam wall where we're seeing these lions, and there was some little bit of aggression there. So apologies for the roof. You can see there's quite a lot of poles here. Oh, one of them is now defecating. You can see that is what they do. Normally, they shake the tail every time the hippopotamus defecate. That is what they do also when they're marking their territories. So that we can carry on and see if we can find any other interesting animal in the same area and come back again here later on. So maybe later on we might find them hunting. So I'm just asking for a chance to pass here. I am not alone at this sighting. There's other vehicles we just got here now, also trying to position themselves. So now let's quickly cross over to the Maasai Mara and hear what David is having at the moment.
Yeah, it's always fair, Sydney, if the lions become very flat, to just move on and look for something else, which might be the case, or which is something I might be doing also very shortly, because the 6, 7 or so lions or 9 that went in that lagger have not come out and they have stuck there without doing much. And these 2 that are out here, and maybe 4, the 2 and the 2, are just there waiting, not sure what they're waiting for. It's not unusual just to tell lions, just taking it easy, and when they change plans, maybe 5 now, which would mean if this is 5, we've got 6 inside that lagger, and either they're going to lay an ambush, but initially I had seen the vultures there, actually going to show us the same vultures we watched before, and I was wondering what those vultures could be doing at that particular point, assuming there was a kill somewhere. And the 6 lions that I cannot see, could they be on that kill? You vultures, what are you waiting for? Definitely, this tree is a tree I know I've passed here a number of times, and I don't remember seeing as many vultures like this in this particular tree at a given time. So that tells me there could be some food somewhere, and maybe the lions or the owners of the kill are still there, and definitely they will not get anywhere close to them. I rule out all the other animals. Silver, very good, and it's true, that's what exactly the vultures will signal. There's a carcass nearby, and that's what exactly I'm thinking. There could be a carcass somewhere here. But now, as I said, Silver, there's a very huge lagger there, and it's difficult to get there. Number one, so many boulders. You can see the terrain there looks pretty bad. When the vultures get the signals, there could be a carcass. So many vultures with no carcass. That has happened, but the general rule is there's always. I hope you see there are more of the vultures there on a different tree. And these are what we call the African white-backed vultures. And they're just enjoying the little swing from the wind. Do not worry. My apologies again, ladies and gentlemen. We had a little bit of a breakdown there. The general rule, Silver, what happens is anytime you see vultures 5, 10, and more say 20, 30 together on a particular tree, chances are there could be something. 9 out of 10 times there could be a carcass, and that has always helped us out in the wilderness. So when we see vultures like that crowded on a particular tree or on the ground and we go there, we'll always see a carcass. On lucky days, we'll always see a carcass and maybe the killers. But there are exceptional cases where you might see vultures, and when you go there, you comb the area, you keep looking, and you see nothing. Maybe that's 1 out of 10 times, but the general rule is 9 out of 10 times, there'll always be something. Now, these vultures are just too many to be on that one particular tree, and what I'm thinking, where the 5 or the 6 lions went under and they have not come out, there could have been a kill. And if that kill is still very fresh, these vultures will not dare go there until they're satisfied or they're convinced the lions are done and they're gone. So the vultures, only if you could talk to them and ask them whether there's anything there. You can see all the rocks or the boulders I'm talking about. Pamela, good question. Do vultures have a predator? I do not think so. And the predators they have are lions. When they try to sneak on lion kills, lions have been known to slap them and kill them, but I have not seen them eating. We're looking at the food chain, and I think the very top of the food chain, and I think vultures do not have anybody who would be feeding on them. I'm trying to remind you, even the hyenas, I haven't seen even a hyena eat a vulture. There could be a case, who knows, but that's quite rare. And the food chain, they're very top, the vultures. Hello, buffalo. You don't want to die today, definitely. Sometimes it's always very difficult for us when we see, predators hunting, because we are always very torn between the predators and the prey. We want the prey, to win and survive being brought down, but also we want the predators to get some dinner for themselves. But it's always what it is. And chances are, if these lions don't hunt now, that they might do that tonight. They'll be known to take advantage of the darkness when they see better than the prey. And there could be a possibility, if maybe I come here tomorrow morning, I might be entertained by a kill. So one is going down in there, but apart from the mammals, let's go to some primates with Steve.
Thanks, David. Indeed, we have got a primate, a vervet monkey, sitting tall up in a very thorny knobthorn tree, surveying the landscape. Knobthorns, I don't think they do at the moment. I think some of them have got some seed pods on them. I often find monkeys and baboons in the knobthorns feeding on the very nutritious pods that they have, but he's just sitting, having a little look. And we found Hosanna yesterday morning because we heard the monkeys. Something like that. We talked about alarm calls earlier this drive. Alarm calls to me from monkeys are the most reliable when it comes to a predator. And if you find the monkey, you'll see it'll be up in a tree shouting its disdain towards an angry or towards a leopard or lion, and it'll be looking. And you'll hear it shouting, and then you know how to find that cat. So quite much easier than impala. While impala are also very reliable, but you can't always find the impala or see them. But when you see the impala, you've got to see what direction they're looking in. But monkeys are often a little bit more elevated. They can see a little bit further. You've also got to bear in mind they can see quite far. When an impala's alarm calling, the cat can also be quite close, whereas monkeys can be a few hundred meters away. So you need to make sure you're able to have these big concentric circles, because what we know of predators, once they've been spotted, just like the Wahlberg eagle earlier and a lot of owls, once they've been spotted, the predatory sort of advantage of being stealth and camouflage is gone, and they generally sneak off into the thickets. It is indeed a treat to see monkeys, but you should all probably come and stay in our camp for a little while, and you'll see a monkey every single day. There are a couple of monkeys that like to come and cause. That was a crested francolin. I think I gave a little bit of a fright too. Sometimes you can be walking through the long grass and you'll hear that, and that is also, I don't know if you did hear it, that's also one of the sort of alarm calls that we follow, because leopards will chase them and they will suddenly go, whoa, there's a leopard, and it will jump. But what they'll do after that call is you'll find them sitting in a tree making this very interesting sort of like purring. I can't do it, I'm not going to try now, but it's this very interesting little sort of churring sound, looking at the cat as they sit in the tree, terrified as to whatever the leopard might be up to. But like I said, once predators are spotted, they invariably give up the ghost when it comes to trying to hunt that animal, because the advantages and the energy then expended are going to be very different. Hello, Pradeep. Monkey has the longest tail. I have no idea. Lots of monkeys up in sort of Central Africa. Probably a lot of them would have, because some of those monkeys, I think, have got what we call prehensile tails, so able to actually hold on to the branch with their tail. But Pradeep, age 6, I have absolutely no idea, I'm afraid. Davy, I don't think you know, do you? No? Well, it's definitely not us. We definitely don't have the longest tail. We probably used to have a tail once upon a time. I wonder if anybody out there knows which monkey has got the longest tail. Please hashtag Safari Live. Throw in your comments on the chat stream, YouTube chat stream. Let us know if you know what monkey has the longest tail. Very interesting. The colobus monkeys, really long tail. The Sykes monkeys also, but you know, the tail is, for most monkeys, is for balance. So when they're in the tree, like a leopard, it sort of helps to stabilize them when they're walking through the tree. Gary, you reckon spider monkeys? Yes, I honestly have no idea. If anybody knows unequivocally, then let us know. If we are all guessing, that's great. But if you do know for a fact, you've measured all the monkeys in the world. Ooh, we've got some falcons in the tree. still a couple sitting there. Gregarious falcons, you can almost immediately assume that they are, where's the word gone? Amur falcons. And indeed, they look to be Amur falcons, migrating all the way from the east into China, all the way through India. They come across from, Israel and then down into Africa. Very nice birds. I'll have a look there. The female has got the streaky chest. The male is all grey in colour, and you see he's got a bit of a mask on her face. Okay, so apparently the googly has told us that long-tailed macaques or macaws have got the longest tail according to body size. So there we go, Pradeep, age 6. But let's quickly have another look at these Amur falcons. Maybe I'll go forward. Are you happy there, doggy? You're actually in good position. So they come down here for the influx of our insects that accumulate this time of year. And that is the primary food source that they have. Mainly also termites, the female or the breeding termites that come out, the elates. And you can get them in enormous flocks. But unfortunately, the movements of these birds all the way from Asia down has decreased dramatically over the years because people are using nets to catch them. There's the male. Isabella, this is great. Yes, it is. Very nice to see them. But they are being caught at an alarming rate as they're trying to migrate down, and they've got to migrate back the other way, and they're being used as food and all sorts of other things. So a very, very sad state of affairs. You used to be able to find them gathering in thousands in trees, and over the last few years, if you find 15 to 20 together, that is a lot. Here we've got about 4 or 5 at one stage there. Very, very sad, but nice to see. And you can always tell the direction of the wind when a bird sits in a tree, because they like to face the wind so that they can easily jump into the wind to fly away. Obviously also the stability of them as well when they want to jump into the air or when the wind is blowing them enables them to stand easily with both feet on the branch. If you're standing sideways to the wind, it's just going to be a bit tricky to stay there. Well, it is cooling down quite nicely. There's possibly a time in the afternoon we might get our predators getting up and moving. So we haven't had much luck on the western side yet. We're probably going to move over towards Gowrie Cutline, should I say, to see if we can follow up on the majestic Tundi from this morning. But it seems as if Sidders has moved away from the watering hole and has found an animal we've been looking for, large, big elephant.
I have got another very interesting and big animal at the moment. You can see a very big animal. Not very far away from where we are. This is a beautiful sighting. Look at that. Look at the ears, are just resembling the African map. So African elephant, the ears are telling a lot about Africa. So these animals can weigh up to 5,000 kilograms, and that is quite a lot. It's quite a very big animal. Apologies for the poles. Look at that animal now when it's coming behind that marula tree. This is one of those trees elephants like to eat their fruits. The amarulas, elephants and amarulas, they get along. So this elephant might be heading maybe towards the Chitwa area, but it's quite far where we are now for drinking for the afternoon. So the tusk of the elephants is used in order to execute various tasks. So the tusk can be used for digging, they use it again for ring barking, and they always prefers one of these tusks the most. So some of them, like humans, are right-handed, whereas some, they are left-handed. I'm just going to reposition a little bit here so that you can have a better sighting. So the elephants, they have got to eat 400 kilograms a day. Their diet is consisted of both grass and leaves. So they are not selective. Elephants, they are mixed feeders. They can just eat anything and everything. Oh, that elephant. So the chances for another sighting are very much low, I can see now. So let's just... So here where I am very far away, and in the wilderness sometimes network is just coming and going. So apologies if those kind of problems are happening as I'm driving. Electrical engineer. The elephants are not really afraid of the big animals. It has been said a lot that the elephants are afraid of the small things such as rats and mice can scare such a big animal like an elephant. Something they don't like the most, the elephant, is the ants. So ants, they get employed by the trees to come and look after these leaves and the branches. Where there's too much ants act as a bodyguard of the tree, and elephants, they don't like it there because ants is not easy to blow them out if they get into the trunk. So now let's quickly go back to the Maasai Mara where David is waiting.
Well, I think it's nice always to leave flat cut and go look for other big animals like elephants. And there's flying cat. Boom. So now this is a different tree from the first tree we saw. This got the one that had a lot more. And I'm more than convinced there's something there. That's a hyena there somewhere passing. No, she's a hyena near those lions there. Very good, Archie. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a little bit of a technical issue. We'll first send you to the tech loop for some time. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, and apologies for the inconveniences due to a poor network signal, but we are back again now, and I am heading back towards the Chitwa. I'm just checking the northern side of Chitwa to see if we cannot find anything. I haven't seen a leopard around Chitwa for quite a long time. The last time I was here, and the leopard I saw, it was Kuchava. I'm still hoping to see Kuchava in this area. Chava is so very much shy. So I saw the waterbuck while I was already gone past. There was a waterbuck standing here next to the road. So the bush is getting very thick here as well. But there is something which is so unique about the Djuma Game Reserve side, because it's much more flat and there's quite a lot of water, a lot of potholes the elephant are creating, which is collecting water. Coming this side is difficult to find the elephant creating their own dams. Here, they are relying only on the Chitwa dam, on everything. Even for mud wallowing, they are going to these areas. But if you go to that side of Djuma, you will see a lot of dams created by this elephant with a lot of water. So no tracks at all for Kuchava in this area. So now let's head back to Steve and hear what his plans are.
Thanks, Sidders. Well, you're going to try find Kuchava. We're going to try find her mum. We're back towards the area where we lost her this morning. Patrick was on drive and Tundi just decided to pop out in the middle of the road and then followed her a little bit into the thickets, but she is quite elusive and it does take a lot of getting used to driving out here and trying to keep up with a cat and also being able to present. It really is something that it takes a bit of practice. So we're going to head back into that area. We're thinking and hoping that if she didn't make a kill this morning, that she might be up and moving, because it has really gotten a little bit more, or a lot cooler than it was when we started the drive. And when we lost her, it did really, as Pat said this morning, it really increased in temperature, like someone just turned up the furnace. So that is a very tricky block to access and to work in, but we're going to go and have a look, see if she's come out. A good chance that if it has been warm, that she will then move from that area, because I don't know of any watering points within that block. So she's got the option of going to Buffelshoek. So let me show you on the map so that you all have a good understanding of what we are talking about. This is Djuma Private Game Reserve. We are right over here now, and well, we had Tundi this morning. We found her here on the road. No, yeah, over there, and followed her in here somewhere, and we lost her somewhere there. So now the watering holes of Wuetelapan, Tambuti Dam, which is up here, and then Buffelshoek, which is in the right. So pretty much a triangular sort of fashion for fresh water. But then all along this drainage system, there are lots of pans and wallows and muddy areas that we have been picking up Hosana in for the last week or two. So we're going to go have a little investigation, see what we can find. Because there's one thing a leopard can't go out with, go for without on every day, and that is water. If they do manage to get a kill, they can actually successfully get enough moisture from the animal, but often they will just go and basically get some water regardless, because it gets quite salty. Giraffe Girl, what is the most difficult leopards to track out here? Well, that is, Hosana is the easiest, but just his movements make it easier. Tundi, she's very tricky. Tingana, he moves pretty much in straight lines, and so he's a territorial male, he's got a big area, and well, when we do track him, her and we want to know so through know where it's going. But Sunny doesn't seem to follow that sort of pattern. She's constantly tracking through the long grass, moving left and right in search of food, and it makes it very hard to find and very hard to track. But with the expert assistance likes of Herbie or Rexon on foot, we often do very, very well fine. Okay, it seems like David, or my signal, I think mine might be dipping and David's is back up. We're going to be going in here. This is Gowrie Cutline. The block I'm talking about where we headed this morning is just on the other side of the river there. So let's go all the way up to the Maasai Mara with Mr. David Gitu.
Well, just like Sydney, I also decided to leave my lions because every time the lions go flat, the best thing is just to move on and look for something else. Now, after having left the lions, I was looking left and right and I saw the sun going home. I don't know what position Archie want me to stop for us to have a little better view of that sunset. How does that look? Because we have not been able to see sunset here for a couple of days. And look at that. And took over sunset. And that is just magnificent. For the last 2 weeks, I had lost what I call my golden moment. And yes, that's a hyena way out there. That's very good eyes there, Em. And what I want now is if we could get an elephant just walking across there, or a giraffe. But at least we have the iconic trees of the Mara Triangle that we call the bosquet. It's the bosquet tree. And some of them we call the torchwood trees. And how cool is that? So every day I see a sunset or sunrise here. In the last few weeks I've been calling it my golden moments because I feel such a privilege to be doing what I'm doing as a guide, but also to be out here every morning and every afternoon, evening, just to see these wonderful rises and sets of the sun. And look at those colors there. Very good job, Archie. And see the tree line there, some tall, some short. It looks to me like a painting. If you look at it carefully, it doesn't look so real. But yes, that is a Mara Triangle for you this hour. Susanna, you say beautiful view. I got a friend of mine in South Africa who's come up like Archie, who is Gabonese of French origin, and seeing such a sighting, I'm sure he would say magnifique, magnifique, which would translate to magnificent. So Susanna, you're not alone saying this is beautiful. I'm not sure what other viewers would like to tell me about this wonderful sunset. One word, possibly hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. So some of the sightings that you don't see anywhere else in the world. Well, in Africa, I think we have the best sights of sightings of the sunset and the sunrise every other day when you're out in the bush. So the mountain or the escarpment you see there, that's called the Olololo escarpment. And for those who could have been with us earlier, we had some lions. And very good to hear you all saying high five, Archie, for a very well done job. And the lions we're watching are called the Olololo, and they were named after that escarpment that you see there. Our camp is not very far from there, just a little bit to the right of that hill. That is where we live. So this has been a great day. We're coming out for a drive, and you see lions wanting to do a hunt, and that's exactly where our camp is. That building there is, that building is part of the Angama Lodge. I'm sure you have always seen on our credit, we'll always talk of Angama Lodge. That's one building there, and I guess could be for members of the staff. And I'll tell you, the views the staff will have from there are magnificent, are breathtaking. And that's the Angama Lodge up there, and you can see the location of that beautiful lodge. Mr. and Mrs. McDonald, you're saying this is priceless, and it's very good to hear that from a couple. You have joined hands to tweet one word, priceless. Yes, I would agree, because this could not have a value. It's just, to me, I would say wow, and yes, it's truly priceless. How cool. So those clouds there could be building, but I am not smelling any rain. We have had enough rain, and before the rains stopped, I can tell you, every other day we were hammered. There were times we were hammered by rains in the morning and in the afternoon. Very good. Hopefully the sun will go down in style and
I have tried by all means and check the whole area around the Chitwa, and I was not lucky. Now I am going back to the lions and see if these lions are not yet interested on hunting or not. Maybe you might find that these lions now, they are up and running and they are looking for some dinner. Chances on these lions to go look for dinner early as now, they are very much high, because the weather is perfect. It's all determined by the weather. The probabilities of the rain, I can say it is 60%, because now the dark clouds which were building earlier on, they are all now dispersing, but it is still remaining overcast. Maybe tonight or tomorrow. So there is no much changes here by the lions. I can see where I am. They are still. So maybe I went past quite a lot of impalas heading down this side. So I don't think these prey animals are gonna see them, because they're right on top. So now let's quickly go back to Steve, who's got a bird.
Thanks, sitters. Another one. Fork-tailed drongo is in the sky once again, getting very angry with this very beautiful pale morph. Now I wonder if any of you out there are good with your raptors and can tell us which one this might be. Send your tweets through to hashtag Safari Live or drop them in on the YouTube chat stream. We've got a bird of prey sitting in the tree. There are feathers all the way to the talons, so I'll give you the clue that it is indeed an eagle. And see, when it moves its head like that, there's binocular vision that these raptors have, and I'd love to be able to experience it for myself, but apparently when they move their head from left to right, it's almost like the eyes are zooming in onto some prey or animal in the distance. And see how well it's blending in with the grey sky in the background. Yes, the good news, the colours are really, really cool. Had a little bit of a white sort of rump as it flew. This is the pale morph of this species. Not the most common of the variety, often mainly seen as a brown form or brown morph. Mafuta, that was a very good guess. You got a great guess there. I'm not going to give your answer away just yet, Mafuta, but you did indeed get it correct. We saw Wahlberg's eagle earlier this morning, or earlier this afternoon. We saw a Battalier eagle earlier this afternoon as well. And Becky, it is not a Wahlberg eagle. When we go back to this one, you'll see that it is actually a bit bigger than a Wahlberg's. It lacks, you see how smooth and round the back of the head is? Mario, there are no snow eagles in South Africa that I know of, but that's a good guess. It looks like it could be something in the snow. But you see there's got a very round back of the head. The Wahlberg's eagle has got a little, it's going to yawn. What's it doing? The Wahlberg's got a bit of a crest on the back. When I compared it with the young Battalier eagle with that little bit of a crest that is almost characteristic of a Wahlberg's, and their beak are quite narrow and small, the Wahlberg's. Lauren, you've also got it right. Well done. Well done. It's a beautiful, beautiful bird indeed, and this one stays here all year round. If it's in fact a grey bird. So this is the pale morph tawny eagle, and he gets the browns, the dark brown, and also the pale. So a very, very nice specimen. And they're also very well known for directing you towards the site of a kill, because they are scavengery, and they will also feed on rodents, carrying it back to their nests. I've found a small giraffe I thought was quite incredible. Obviously, feeding the chicks in the nest bone can be quite useful, but it is obviously the meat around the bone that was utilized. Well, beautiful dead tree with the eagle inside, nice and well camouflaged to the background. And well, you don't get more camouflaged out in the wilderness than a lion.
So you can see that these lions are very much camouflaged here, make use of the sand. When I'm looking at these lions, the coloring and everything is just matching the surrounding. It's not easy for these animals to see them. I can see some of the impalas are coming back, and they are slowly heading down to drink, and possibilities of these lions to react due to the presence of the impalas, they are very high. But impalas can see well. I don't think they're going to win. When it comes to impalas, it's not easy. So you can see that one is lying down, and the one with the head up is the one that is going to be spotted first. So we will be back just now. Apologies for the inconveniences. We are experiencing some technical difficulties. You can see that the two females, they are positioning. It looks like the other one wants to show us some of the interesting behavior at the moment. Let's just see what this female is going to show us. And they are now aiming at the impalas who are on the other side. My apologies again for the inconveniences due to some technical difficulties. So these two lions are aiming at the impalas who are not very close. They are on a distance of about, let's say, 150 meters away. So this is what they do a lot when they want to insulate each other. But now there's no need for them to lean against each other because it is quite very much hot at the moment. So you can hear the hippopotamus as well giving some of the calls. So that was just a sound from the Egyptian goose. So it looks like the one. They are cuddle buddies. You can see the one who's just aiming at the impala by the other side has got quite a lot of interest on this impala. Maybe is too hungry, so the other one is just lying down flat, not worried, not showing any sign of interest on these impalas at the moment. So, but I think an impala is going to be enough for the two. But if it's a lot, they are too clever. They don't chase anything small because they are just afraid that the energy they are going to lose during the chase is not going to be enough when it comes to the recovery of the energy lost. So while we're waiting to see what is going to happen here between lions and impalas, let's just cross over back to Steve and hear about the hippopotamus.
Hello, Scuba Steve. Where have you been? What have you been up to? Back in the Buffelshoek watering hole, we've been doing some loops, searching around for the elusive tundi. Oh, there's a woodland kingfisher doing some dive bombing on the water. Do you see him, Dave? He's going to come back again. He's just on the bush on the left-hand side there. They've come down and they drink almost like a swallow would do. A little bit up. You'll see him just on the left there. A little bit more left and up. There he is. Beautiful woodland kingfisher. And he's not just drinking, he's also wetting himself a little bit to then go and do the grooming and the bathing for the day. I've never seen a kingfisher, well, a woodland kingfisher, sitting next to the water, nor the brown-hooded kingfisher. Apparently, most kingfishers don't really have the power in their legs to be able to push them off of the ground if they were standing. They're able to fly and sort of jump off of a little ledge or a perch, but if they're on the ground, I don't think they have the necessary skills to jump back up again. So that's why this one does a flying sort of movement across the water itself to wet itself and also to drink. But then again, the woodland kingfisher and most of the other insect-eating birds get most of their drinking water from the insects that they feed on. Cal6, well, I haven't been around for the last 3 months and I haven't heard anything about old Snorkel Sarah. He's looking all lonely on his own there, old Scuba. He's looking at the grey sky and going, I can smell the rain, where is it? As he's got one oxpecker in attendance, really dealing with a wound on his back there. Clearly not bothering him at all. Now, to be honest, on foot, a hippo like this in decreasing water can be incredibly dangerous because water is sort of the safe haven for a hippo and they feel comfortable when they can cover themselves in it. And then when a hippo can't cover itself anymore, submerge itself in its comfort zone, they quite often can feel threatened and well known to charge and be aggressive to many people on foot. So that is one of the reasons why in the dry periods it's very important to be aware of your areas, your surroundings, and where you might potentially find a hippo like this. But obviously when the rains come and watering holes like this one fill up, well, then it goes back to normal. The oxpecker is not necessarily cleaning it. It's probably actually keeping it open and then feeding on the blood. And so it picks, you can see it's actually got a little bit of an open scab there. So oxpeckers themselves, they feed on ticks, but primarily the reason for feeding on ticks is to access the blood that the ticks have within themselves. And so they will often attack wounds and keep wounds open. It's probably why on Scuba he's got these lesions that haven't gone anywhere. You can see there's another one on the left, another one on the top there. because he's often got oxpeckers. He can't go under the water really, so the only way for him to actually get them off of him is to submerge himself or to move, and that requires a lot of energy, and it gets quite sort of laborious during the day to constantly be flicking away at these annoyances. But I don't think it is affecting him too badly. It's just keeping a wound that wants to heal from doing so. Well, a wonderful afternoon. Temperatures have really decreased to a much more manageable sort of area, and we're going to move on and see if we can pick up any tracks of Thandi. We are looking very, very closely at the ground, and because it was hot earlier, there's a very good chance she has either gone to water, as I said, or is lying up. But one of the reasons for us checking Buffelshoek was this was the one triangulation point she could have come to, but we'll check the others now. But in the meantime, let's go up to the Maasai Mara with David Gitu with a spotlight.
Well, someone finding the Queen of Juma Thandi, that should be very exciting. And I'm not sure whether they're still together with the Princess Tralamba. And the last I left Juma, Tralamba was trying to behave like any typical teenager and trying to move away from the mother. I don't know what's the situation now. Well, darkness has come here, and I am not looking for anything in particular. The only thing I'll do is after some time I'll swing by those lions that I had seen before and find out if they were lucky to bring down a zebra. They went in a very difficult area, but apparently those zebras smelled them. And when they smelled them, those lions moved away. I mean, the zebras moved away, so they might decide to follow them. As I was saying earlier, lions tend to see better in the darkness, and they take the advantage of darkness to go for a hunt. I'll not be surprised if that happens tonight. But it was quite dramatic to see them trying to bring down a huge male buffalo. And you see the buffaloes were very smart. They knew in numbers they could intimidate those lions. So at one point it was about 7 lions against 5 buffaloes, but the buffaloes came out better off because they were bigger and they could scare them. Lee, do any animals look in their escarpment? I'll tell you, Lee, at the moment, it's still very wet down here. You can see my pace of driving is very slow because it's still wet and there are so many holes you don't want to enter into, say, termite mound or a hole that has been dug by a pig. So most of the ungulates, most of the hoofed animals, Lee, have left this flat area and have gone all the way to the escarpment. Now, just in the camp we live in, at night when you come out and you just have your torch, we see so many zebras just outside. There are so many elands, and not very far from the camp also on our way down here to the escarpment to do the drive, we'll also see lots of giraffe. So many will leave, and they leave because it's still very soggy here, and if they would spend a lot of time in such muddy areas, sometimes they get what we call foot rot on their hooves. So to avoid that, the best thing is for them to leave and wait until it dries up. I'll tell you, Lee, we got more zebras and giraffes up on the escarpment than we have down here. So that's Mother Nature. Elephants also behave the same, and this is one of the days where I've done a drive for maybe now going to 2 hours plus without having seen a single elephant. It's just because it's wet and a bit soggy and very muddy. But what I'm doing, I'm trying to go to an area that's much raised to chance on elephants as it gets dark. Well, darkness comes with other wildlife. I'm talking about nightjars or scrub hares or hyenas sometimes get busy in the darkness. So meanwhile, we'll take you back to the gentleman who got lions.
They are still very much relaxed, displaying quite a lot of interest on different things, different animals coming to drink here. So what I'm doing now is to just wait and see when they are going to go down the dam wall and maybe wait somewhere by the bank where the animals are approaching from, because I can see by looking at these animals, they are so hungry and they really want to have something tonight. Chances are very high that we might witness a kill. It's unpredictable. This is quite a lovely pose. Look at that. So one is on a watch out whereas the other one is sleeping. It's a good combination. When that one is sleeping, the one sleeping must have to be on a lookout point. So you can see it's clear. The lion is also spotted. You can see the underneath parts nice and clear. But you only see them a lot when you look at those that are still very young. So they can hear the impalas calling their babies. You can see that one is concentrating on the impalas doing like when it's calling the babies. So the female lions is the ones who can be very much aggressive, and when they are having the cubs, they are so very much aggressive and they don't want anything to come near their cubs. Paula, she is indeed breathing pretty fast. When it's too hot, you'll see the breathing rate on this animal goes high all the time. So it's overcast, but the wind here is still very much warm. And now that they're leaning against each other, I'm sure that is also helping to insulate the heat. So now let's cross over to Steve, who's got the hornbill.
Well, Sidders, let's hope that your lions get up and catch some food for you there. Wonderful to see. But for now, we've moved a little bit off from Buffelshoek watering hole, and we have found a southern yellow-billed hornbill, easily identified by the very long yellow beak. And there is the preen gland right there on the base of the tail, and it is going to get oil from that onto its beak, which it then uses to preen, to go through the feathers. Often birds will either bath first, wetting themselves, and then apply the preen oil to their feathers to apply that waterproof coating, which obviously stands them in good stead out here. And they've got to get everywhere, underneath the armpits, everywhere that they possibly can. And they'll always do this away from the roosting site or away from the nest, because they often will remove parasites and mites and all sorts of flea-like animals that they don't want to be taking back to the nest with them. But as it does so, you can see it's still looking around. Ding, they are very funny birds. They are quite unique in their sort of appearance with that long beak shape, but that stands them in good stead for being here in the dry season. You can almost regard them as specialized feeders in the fact that their beak is able to access all sorts. They can feed on fruits, they can feed on seeds, they can leaf toss on the ground as well. They can stick their beak into cavities and to fissures. They've also got very nice ability of following around mongooses, dwarf mongooses and the like, and benefiting it. Oh, and there we go. There's a dwarf mongoose. I knew we would find one nearby if we found a hornbill. They have a very nice relationship between themselves, whereby let's quickly go over to Sidders.
So you can see that I've got the hippopotamus just on his way back to the waterhole next to the chitwa. Don't get surprised when seeing some of the fence lines there. That is the chitwa is by the lodge. So I'm just now very, very close to that area. I can see the hippopotamus is coming from somewhere, coming back to the waterhole. but it's taking a very long dry. It's just gonna come in maybe somewhere in the middle. I don't know where this hippopotamus is coming from because it's not coming from this dam, but it's very much wet. Maybe there is some other water somewhere nearby. So now you can see that we are well equipped because the rain possibilities are very high. The rain cover and the roof will be giving you a problem all the time because of the poles when we are trying to give you the best sightings. So that hippo is now very stationary somewhere there. So Maria, you can see the hippopotamus out of the water holes all the time, especially if you go that area where we have just seen the scuba Steve with Steve by the other side there. That hippo is just spending a few times out of the water hole. You will see he does go to the water hole, but you will see him on several occasions outside there for the rest of the day. So now we can go back to the lions and see if there is any developments. I came here specifically just to look at that hippo as I was going to make a turn. So I can see there's just impalas everywhere. No other big animals. No other big animals to fascinate these lions here. So maybe later on we might see the buffaloes. So now let's quickly go back to Steve and hear what he's saying.
Thanks, it is. Well, always very funny to watch a hippo run. I'm just going to point out to David there's some green wood hoopoes chirping in the tree here. See if we can find them. But how incredibly fast are hippos? And I was talking before about how they can be dangerous because when they do run, they are surprisingly fast. I mean, they can run about 40-odd kilometers an hour. That's about 20 miles an hour. And well, they're generally going downhill, so it's probably even faster than that. Have you got anything, Davy? They're definitely around. I heard them. So we'll call them out, shall we? The green wood hoopoe. Well, I was talking about the hornbill and the dwarf mongoose. And they've got a really nice relationships between them. They actually will benefit each other. Some people go as far as to say that the hornbills will come to the mongoose's little burrow in the morning and knock on the door and say, "Come on, let's go catch some food." Oh, I just saw another falcon go there. Sorry, it's gone. Let's go catch some food. And as the mongooses come out and go in search of food, let me just type in this as well, wood hoopoe. And as they go in search of food, they do scratching and they're all moving around, ferreting through the long grass, chasing insects, digging up scorpions. And the hornbill every now and again jumps down and catches some food as a benefit to themselves. But while sitting up in the tree, apparently they've got a little alarm call that they're able to give to the dwarf mongoose to like go, quickly run, there's something coming. And things like the Amur falcon, the tawny eagle, the battler eagle, all of these would be prime examples of birds that would try to catch the little mongoose and also the hornbill. So I'm going to play this quickly for you, the green wood hoopoe. This is what we heard. They might come out. They often come out when you play a call. I'm going to push stop there. Now they call that allomimetic. Oh, Paula, you want to know the size difference between a yellow-billed hornbill and a ground hornbill? There is a huge difference, huge difference. Here they come. There we go. Bottom right. There it is. Up a bit, Davy. There we go. Just on the right of the tree there. Top right of the screen. Called allomimetic behavior, where they'll come together He's moving up on the left. He's jumping through. There we go. Top right, top middle. Moving through. He seems to be on his own. Now, that chirping call that I was doing now is what allows these birds to sort of follow each other through from one tree to the other. So I can't hear any others. Can't hear any others. So the southern ground hornbill is 110 centimeters, so close to 4 kilograms, and the southern yellow-billed hornbill is 50 centimeters, 190 grams. So huge difference in size. But we saw also earlier, we're going to move on from this green hoopoe. Saw also earlier that the hornbill was busy sort of preening and then looking. Preening and looking. We had a little discussion this morning about the day in the life of a bird, and well, generally sort of this time of day, after having a little bit of a bath, they'll do some grooming or preening away from the den site, but they also at pressure then of being eaten or caught by crepuscular sort of raptors, sparrowhawks, chikras and the like. So they've got to keep their eyes. You saw a little bit of preen, then have a look, and that's another reason why many bird species hang out in groups. Green hoopoes, for example, they can fend off predators, and they can also defend territory with their long probing beak being a very specialized feeding technique, more specialized in actually than the hornbill. But the hornbill adapted itself to follow around mongooses, which are here all the time, and to benefit off of sort of things that they're not able to access themselves. But most of the birds that we've been seeing today will all gratefully and thankfully take the termite alates when they come from the rainfall. Even ourselves, human evolution, we used to eat lots and lots of termites, and I still know lots of locals who do still eat many insects from the landscape. So there is an abundance, and well, I'm not going to get into that discussion again because, well, we've done that before. Calcics, I don't see them that often. I think I've seen them less than 5 times in the time I've been here. We do, they need vast areas to look for food. So they just move through, sort of like you could almost compare them to the wild dog in their movements. They move as far as they need to every day for food. They don't necessarily have a specific territory, although they are sort of territorial. They will call a lot. Areas are very, very vast, and small nature reserves don't have enough area for them, so they move all the way through and into much larger areas than the much smaller birds. So smaller hornbills will just have a small area here because their food resource is obviously much less, and many more of them around due to abundance of food. But the southern ground hornbill moves very large distances every day in search of food, and that's why they spend a lot of time on the ground physically walking. But we are in the area that we found Tingana the other evening, and we're hoping to see some form of tracks of someone in the next little while. I don't think Hosana will come this far east this afternoon, but the aging Duke and Tandi, well, who knows, there could be another love affair.
It's fallen here, and we have already gone into what we call infrared, and infrared will always help us to spot animals or when we shine or put infrared on the animals we see, we make sure we do not affect them. And it's a little bird there, I'm not sure we can see it actually very well. Let me just first turn around here, and it looks like a little bird on top of a little twig right there. There, actually, it looks like a nightjar to me. I could be very wrong. Let's see whether our infrared will get there. And the advantage of our infrared is to help us spot a game at night without influencing them. Oops, she just flew away, and my guess that was a nightjar. No idea where she has gone. Let's see if we can track her again. She was on that little bush. I think the wind was just too strong, and she decided to move away. The other day I had a question from a viewer who was asking me why we call them nightjars, and I was wondering, thinking, as much as I did not do my research, but then I remember when I was in college, I was told these birds will always come out at night to feed. and that's why maybe they are called nightjars. You very rarely see a nightjar during the day, and because they'll always be out in the darkness to feed, and it could be the reason why they are called nightjars. But I also remember originally that it was they were called nightjars because of the European nightjars. But I think for them coming out feeding at night would make more sense than anything else. But I'll still continue researching and find out why they are called nightjars. They'll of course come out and feed on flies. They've got lots of whiskers around their beak that when they open it, they'll always go catching flies as they move. It's a little cat here. I'm not sure it is. Let me see. You've got a little closer. Where did you go? Looks like a mongoose, but definitely at that speed they are actually there. Let's see if we can get it, but somewhere there. See that one there? Yeah. Hello there. It's a carnivore, and I'm guessing it's a mongoose. Not sure what mongoose it is unless I see the tail. Yeah, white-tailed mongoose. And she runs and runs like a nightjar. So these are the animals that will normally come out at night. Once in a while or once in a blue moon you might see a mongoose during the day, but that particular one, in general, you'll always see them coming out at night. The particular mongooses we know that you can only see them at night, the white-tailed, the marsh mongoose, and there are those that we definitely know will see them during the day. The banded or the striped mongoose, the dwarf mongoose, those ones are more diurnal and they'll always be out during the day. The other difference between that, apart from their behavior, Jasmine, you say it looks like a cat, Jasmine, and happy Boxing Day, Jasmine. Yes, I mean, from a distance initially, you might think it was a cat. And I was thinking earlier, when I first saw the eyes, it was a savo cat, until I saw the white bit of the tail and confirmed it was a white-tailed mongoose. But Jasmine, you're right, from a distance you'd think it's a cat. And the only cat it would be a savo cat, on that savo cats are much taller because of their long legs. Mike, you just took those words out of my mouth, Mike, and you'd like to know whether the mongooses are solitary. Now, like the one that you just saw, the white-tailed mongoose, those ones in general are solitary unless you see two, maybe a male and female. Marsh mongoose the same. But we also got other mongooses, for example, the dwarf mongoose I was talking about, and the banded, the striped mongooses that are very social. Either of those two species, you could see 20 to 50. That's the average, an average of 20. But the times when you get them having such a big group of about 50 together. So, Mike, it depends on the species of mongoose. So, in general, the white-tailed, the marsh mongoose are solitary, but the banded and the slender-tailed mongoose too. But the banded and the dwarf mongoose are always social, and you could see them moving in big groups. So I got my spotlight on now because I need to look left and right, and I was talking earlier of the infrared that we just used there. Well, Gary, what are the main predators of white-tailed mongoose? I would only guess maybe the honey badger. Honey badger, I would think honey badger will get anybody, any animal. And occasionally we have seen wild dogs going for white-tailed mongoose. I would say those two are the ones that I would think off my head, the honey badger and the wild dogs. The only thing is they are very fast, and when they feel concerned or when their safety is compromised, they move very quickly. So just to finish my story with the infrared, it always helps us to spot or see the animals without influencing any artificial light to them. So once we spot something, switch off my lights, switch off my spotlight, and we just use the camera with infrared. So at the moment we hear lots of frogs doing a lot of calling, a lot of skydivers also doing lots of calls. And I'd be more than happy to see any other animal in the darkness. Not sure Sydney's lions are doing anything yet.
So these lions are just here, and I just want to now have a good approach direction because the other vehicle just moved now, and where we can see them now is going to be perfect. So one of them is just waving the tail all the time. So they are just here. So you can see that these lions are just here and very much relaxed. So you can see how they are posing, that this is a beautiful sighting. You can hear the hippopotamus are also making a lot of noise. It's also going to be the best time for the hippo to come out. Maybe the coming out of the hippopotamus from the dam might also interfere on the aiming of the lions. So these lions are aiming at the impalas, and when the hippo comes out, they might just distract the lions. The baby waterbuck, that is depends on how old the baby is. But the waterbucks, they've got quite a lot of hairs, which makes it more difficult in order to see the actual side. But impalas are very much small. So when the lions are like this, when they don't have anything in their bellies, it's when they can run very fast, because the food gives them a lot of weight in the body, and then to run fast, the speed gets reduced. If you look, the one which is having quite a lot of spots, the young one, the stomach is full because of the water we saw earlier. She went to the waterhole, and the other one has not yet been to the waterhole. You can see that the spaces between the hips and the ribs there, it doesn't have anything. When it's like that, it means it can go very fast. So now let's quickly go back to Steve and hear what he's having at the moment. Maybe he's having something, or he must be investigating something.
We're back in the area where we had Tundi this morning. She was in this block, but Dave will just scan quickly to the right and show you. It is a thicket. That's why Pat lost her this morning. And we're just driving along here to see if maybe we get any tracks of her coming out, because she is quite one of those individuals who walks in sort of zigzaggy lines and then comes back again as well. So if she didn't go to Buffelshoek, that is a hyena, sorry. If she didn't go to Buffelshoek, then she would have probably come back to the drainage depression here, where there's lots of watering points, and Vuetela Pan, which is just up the way. So we're just driving very slowly, seeing if we can hear anything, any of the characteristic alarm calls that we're looking for, notably francolins, some monkeys perhaps, or, well, in this area there's lots of nyala. But she is a specialist for daycare. Hello, Kayleen. That's a very good question. It really depends on the day and on the hunger of that animal. Invariably, male travel further when they go on a territorial, because their territories can be 3 times even more than that of a female's, and after some rainfall you'll get male sort of walking the boundary of the territory to rescent mark. So there they can walk 15-20 kilometers in an evening, male maybe 25, so what's that, about 13 odd miles in a night. But then if they're hunting, they can also walk pretty far, but it all depends on how hungry and how long it takes them to hunt. obviously it's all about the energy costs involved, and if it is hot and if it is really, really unfavorable conditions, well, they'll just lie down and do absolutely nothing. But when they are busy, they can be very busy. So it really is could be any time of day, sort of the situation can change. And if they've got a kill, well, they don't need to go anywhere, maybe just a few miles or a mile or two to go and get some water, but they know where they are, and energy costs obviously, and they'll go to the closest source for refreshment. I hope that answers your question. Well, we're just driving very nicely along this road, keeping vigil. We had Osana in here yesterday morning. Tandi might be nearby, who knows, we could find anything. Last minute leopard, here we come. But in the Mara, David is with some ellies.
Very good. Keep going, and the only trick in the wilderness is just to keep going, and like saying, in the bush, in the African bush, there is always the unpredictable. You never know what you see around the corner. I passed here apparently 10 minutes ago. There was not a single elephant, and I decided to come and backtrack the same way, heading to the lions I had seen earlier. And the elephants are. I'm like, where were you before we passed here? Either I missed them or they had not come close to the road. They're so close, I can even hear them uprooting the grass as they swallow or as they chew. Sure, you say, yeah, Ellis, would guess you love Ellis, and sure, just to let you know of all the big, large mammals we got in Africa. Sure, maybe like you, elephants or Ellis are my favorite animals. Look at the lions sitting hard. Look at my lions before. And I don't know what that young one is trying to do there. Oh, yeah, he's trying to sit down. Look at that youngster there, sure. What are you doing? And that's why I say elephants are always very entertaining. This was just trying to have a little sit down, and you realize their knees don't bend backwards. She's much lighter than the mother there. I would guess that's her calf. And yeah, unlike the lions I was saying, sitting hard, and I had, apart from the time they're trying to hunt buffaloes, for anybody who was with us that time, that's it. For lions, when they go flat, they go flat. But I have never had any guide, not even myself, seen flat elephants. And I would be happy to hear one day someone saying, well, David, I had elephants, but they were flat. I would wonder, flat doing what? Because even when they're laying down, they're always, flicking their ears, they're moving their tails, they're trying to make themselves comfortable. Because of all the animals I know in Africa, the most uncomfortable animals to see laying down are elephants. The morphology of their bodies, though it is shaped, it makes it very difficult for them just to either lay down or lie on their side. It's getting quite too windy here at the moment, and we are already in infrared. That's why you see our elephants don't look like the familiar elephants that you know. And the one big advantage is to make sure we don't shine any light that would affect these elephants. Now what we're going to do, we'll try and move forward and hopefully see maybe more animals ahead of us. Okay, Alice, thank you very much. See a bit of lightning now coming and going. Chick, chick, chick. But still, as I said earlier, I don't see any rains today, maybe until tomorrow. Kimberly, I was asking how big a territories elephants will cover in a day. Well, a few factors, Kimberly, come in. Number one, the age of the elephants, and number two, if they have young ones with them, but also the size of the habitat. Like the Mara is so huge, so in walking a straight line, you can see elephants could do comfortably, sometimes up to 20 kilometers. You're talking about 12, 13, 14 miles in one day. And they walk slowly, they don't walk very quickly, but also, as I said, it depends on the availability of food. If in a small radius where they are, Kimberly, there's enough to eat, they will not need to walk many kilometers. But if they exhaust what they got at that particular point, they may want to a different area to get more food. But also elephants, Kimberly, keep changing their diet. The times you'll see, they'll want grass, and depending on what they get from the grass, If they get enough of it, they will stop eating grass and then will move on, say, to get some leaves or some barks of trees, and they'll see them leaving the grass, walk through the same grass that's also nutritious, but they'll not be bothered, and they'll walk to a forest, maybe to get the twigs and leaves, depending if, for example, they want some cambium, depending on what they want to gain from that particular diet. Some, game reserves are pretty small, so they get restricted to a small area, or some areas with small herds. But I would say elephants, I don't think they sleep. I've always known elephants spending the better time of their lives eating, and we have always thought 16, 17, sometimes up to 18 hours elephants will spend eating. So they're only left about 6 hours to have a little drink, and when they sleep, to me, they'll always have small little cat naps. When it's like very hot during the day, when you don't see them feeding, they'll take advantage of some very huge trees which got some very good shade cover, and you might see them having small little cat naps for a couple of minutes while still standing. Occasionally we see them laying down. I was just saying earlier, that's the most, I think, uncomfortable position for an elephant to be in, because the way elephants are designed, it's very difficult for them either to lie on their feet like this, like lions, or even to lie on their side like cats. So when they try to do that, they're not very streamlined. They struggle a little bit because their bellies are a little bit bulged, so the legs tend to hang in the air. So either they bring the forequarters down and the hindquarters will be up in the air, or the other way. It becomes very difficult for them. And in general, they'll always choose to sleep while standing, which is a lot easier and comfortable for them. Alrighty, my spotlights need to spot something, because I need to see any eyes that could be glaring somewhere. Surely you're asking, do any animals slide down like when to start raining like cows? Yes, and they are not exactly related animals. I'm talking about buffaloes. You'll see buffaloes in an open area when it's raining, just laying down, and just like cows, and you just see them chewing cud, and they're very comfortable doing that. Elephants will not do that, and apparently, even with the rains, the elephants will still continue eating or continue moving, depending on what they want to do. But buffaloes, many times you've seen them laying down, in an open area with some very heavy rains and just regurgitating and chewing cud. Very typical of cows, as you said. All right, I'm looking for any eyes that could be glaring the grass, and that could be something encouraging. I highly doubt I would get any hippos like what Sydney got on a road like this without any water.
You can see that now we are watching the hippopotamus as they've been making quite a lot of noise while we're enjoying the lion sighting earlier. I then have just decided to come here and see this hippopotamus. They were playing a lot here, chasing each other, but now I can see all of them are submerged. Only few is left up there. Maybe those who were chasing each other are going to come out again. So these animals, they've got a chance to go underwater. They can submerge up to 5 to 6 minutes and then just come out for breathing. There is doing as I am explaining now. This is a lovely sighting. So this one as well, you can see that it's about to submerge. It's looking at us, but it's quite a very distant sighting. When these animals go down, the water doesn't enter the eyes. They've got the nectating membrane which helps them. The same membrane the frogs and the artfuck is having. Oh, he also got disappeared. They're chasing each other somewhere high up there. So they're so excited and playing too much. Hippopotamus are also very much territorial. And they mark their territories here by the dams, and they also mark territories very far away from these dams, as they can travel long distances in search of some better grazing. MGN, I think the hippo has got one of the best sounds. Listen. So MG, the hippopotamus has just answered your call. You can hear that they are really now calling. Maybe it's because you have just talked about how interesting their call is like. So these hippopotamus, they do deserve a very big round of applause. They deserve a compliment. So they are doing very well. That was a nice call. Nice chorus from the school of hippopotamus. That is a group of hippopotamus together. So I am also very much happy. I do enjoy listening to the hippopotamus just calling. Sometimes I don't talk, I just listen to them. So now let's say, after being guided by the hippopotamus, they took over from me, they were just guiding. Let's go to Steve and see what he's having.
Well, a hippo kind of afternoon there for you sitters. Very good. And we are on the famous road named Ingwe Alley, which is Leopard Alley. And well, it's an area we've had many times for Sana and his pops Tingana. So 14 minutes to go to get you all a leopard. We're hoping one's going to pop out. You know how it is. I think last minute leopard. Hello Lee, I do indeed. The little chief Osana is my favorite leopard. I've spent lots of time with him. He graced myself with his presence on my interview drive, and since then I've had marvelous times with him. Really wonderful times. And he's just such a cool character. Hey Darby, don't you agree? Yeah. He's just got such a little personality to him. And we were on drive yesterday morning. He took over from me and was driving, and we had Osana, and Osana came right next to the car and just like looked straight through my soul. It was very nice. He's the kind of leopard who, when you're looking for him, will eventually just come out and be like, I'm over here, guys. Stop searching so hard. Just come and look. I find that very funny. I think it was Darby, was it with you and Brent when Osana walks into frame? Dave was with Brent, and Brent was off the vehicle searching for some tracks, and Dave was sitting on the back. I'm not sure. I've heard two stories. I've heard one story, and then I've heard Dave's story. And the one story I heard was that Osana walked into the frame of the camera, and the ladies in FC had to call Dave on the radio and say, there's a leopard, there's a leopard. And what's your story, Dave?
I was too busy watching him.
Dave said he was too busy watching him to film him. So whatever it is, he decided to walk into frame. Just, whoops. I think it happened with Byron once. Byron Soraya was here, but it wasn't Osana, it was Tingana. He'd been searching for Tingana all day. And as the credits were rolling, he was looking at the camera going, and thank you very much. And Tingana walked behind him. These leopards have just got so much character. We love them so much. They are so personal. They're all so different and so unique. They are superstars. They are performers. They are the characters of Djuma and Safari Live. And well, it is really nice to be back down in the Sabi Sands for the leopards, I must say. Didn't see any leopards in the Mara this time around, but they are there. I wonder if David will be spending any time with leopards this coming season. What is that? We've got some baby impalas over there. So there's lots of leopard food around. We're doing another loop back down onto Pangolin Road, which is here in the heart of Djuma, and then down to Chelapan, which is one of the pans in the middle of the system that would be sort of right there in the middle of that triangular movement with regards to where Tundi might have moved. And it is the last place Hosana was left yesterday morning. This road itself has also got a couple little muddy wallows and water points. And some of you might remember many months ago when Tlalamba was about 4 months or so, we found her and Tundi along this road having a nice drink on a very green little muddy wallow here. It was a beautiful, beautiful scene. I think I was with VM, and it was gorgeous to see the two of them drinking, mum and little one, drinking on a pan that's just covered in green. Oh, there's a lightning storm in the north. We can't hear it, but it seems like it might be bypassing us, or maybe will hit us in the next few hours. But you can see the clouds are getting nice and thick. But just in the distance, I saw the crackling of lightning. Well, we're going to continue on along this road here. We might get a last minute leopard yet, but well, the man of the day or the afternoon with the lions is Sydney down on Chitwa.
So here where I am, I'm still having the two unkuhumas lying down, and they are very much stationary. I'm not alone at the sighting. There's some other vehicles. You can see they are enjoying their sleep. So I'm even thinking about to go back to the side of Djuma to see if maybe we cannot be lucky on our way back and see a spotted cat. A cheetah cat, the chameleons are out. Now it's nice and green. I have seen a chameleon before. The day I came back from my off days, I see one chameleon crossing the road not very far away from here. You can see the elephants are also crossing at the back there behind these lions. So there is quite a number of elephants. This is quite a small herd. So you can see that they are not too sure about something. They must be picking up the scent of these lions there. But the lions are right on top of the dam walls. There won't be any interaction between these lions and the elephants. So you can see the elephants are looking very much suspicious, and that is where these lions had a sleep for the whole afternoon. So I'm sure the scent is still stuck on the ground. This is quite a lovely elephant herd. So the elephant reminds me of where I come from, Thohoyandou. Thohoyandou, it means an elephant head. And today in Venda is a very big day of boxing. So there's a lot of traditional fightings there. A lot of people are using quite a lot of different ingredients from different trees in order to enhance power so that they can go and challenge each other. Look at that. This is quite a very beautiful elephant head. So now they've agreed. They've cleared the confusion. The scent on these animals, they can stay much longer because some of these animals, when they're lying down in the area, they normally wake up and go and urinate. They do have some of the clitoral glands the glands that is secreted when the animal is urinating, which gets stuck in the area for quite a long time. Even males, including antelopes, they do have this, what is a gland which is right in the sheath of their copulatory organ, the males. That gland is the one which is discharged when they're urinating, which then leave behind a scent. So the females as well, but the female is called a clitoral gland. They are just surrounded by the elephants and the lions. You can see there behind the lions, there's an elephant even trying to investigate. So they are so very lucky. You can see they're investigating, and then with the trunk, look at that. You can see sniffing. You can see that it's just sniffing the building of the dam wall. So these elephants, they know that the lions are here. He's trying to pull the trunk right on the ground to pick up the scent. You can see the lions are even looking at the elephants. They're checking what is going on. So these elephants are coming to the water. I can see now they're coming out there. They're just about 50 meters away from the waterhole. The one in front has got some black fluid coming down from the side of the head. That is called a temporin. It is secreted by the temporal gland. It's telling you this elephant has been stressed by something. So the one leading, maybe that is the matriarch, the stressed matriarch, responsible for orientation and navigation and decision making. Now she's climbing the dam wall. But still, by the dam wall, she is investigating who gone past here and how long ago was that. This is an amazing sighting. So this is what is called a parade of elephants. A group of elephants together is called a parade. Oh, this is the matriarch in front is giving some orders. And they are not making a noise at all. These animals, it's a lot of them, and they're just slowly moving down, and all we can hear is just the hard soil particles when they are squashing it as they're walking. This is so interesting. So you can see that now they are going to drink, they can't wait. This is quite a clear communication. A simple warning was given and they all followed that order. Look at that. I'm just gonna make it simple. I wanted to give some other people a chance to have a good sighting, but it's fine. We are seeing them from here where we are. So it's time to have something to drink. So you can see that these elephants are not worried. Sometimes the crocodiles, they come, they prefer to, one hippo is coming down right in front of the elephant. So one hippopotamus just gone past in front of these elephants at the back. Right at the back of that tree there's a hippo coming out. A lot of babies. You can see there's a hippopotamus coming down right in front of the elephant behind that tree. At the back of that tree there, look, the hippopotamus is coming out now for grazing. So it's only going to be back sometime tomorrow morning. So let's go back to the elephants and see these elephants who are enjoying having their drink this afternoon, this late afternoon. Look at that. So after this, some of them might even splash water and spray water right on their bodies. I've never seen these elephants swimming here by the Chitwa. So these elephants, they can be able to collect 150 to 200 liters of water a day. They don't collect this water all at the same time. They will come here in the morning and they come again in the afternoon. Shona, I haven't seen that kind of behavior happening where they absorb these fish as they're drinking. So, but the trunk, it's like a nose. At the end, it has got a tip and two holes. So when they are collecting this water, yeah, some of the small fishes can be able to feed there, but I'm sure fish can be able to pick up vibration when this trunk is going down there. This is a lovely sighting. I cannot stop enjoying the elephants. Even if I'm seeing them plenty times a day, I just don't mind. Elephants are just so beautiful animals. And it has been a lovely afternoon. We saw quite a lot of interesting animals, including birds with Steve, as well as the buffalo's interaction with the lions by the beginning of the game drive with David at the Maasai Mara was phenomenal. So here I am now closing with the elephants and lions right next to me. Interesting, isn't it? And thank you very, very much for all your questions and comments. Your questions and comments has been very great, and hopefully you are going to keep watching us. Tomorrow morning we are going to be back again with something very, very interesting to show you. So you can see that it is still the drinking time by these elephants, and some of them are done already. They are saying goodbye. They're starting to go away. Until tomorrow morning, have a lovely evening.